Hi, Natalie. Welcome to the Gut Glow Reset 4-month program. I am so excited to be working with you to heal your gut, get to the root cause issues of what's going on, finally get rid of this constipation, this 4 to 6 days. I'm so sorry you've been living with this for so long, and I'm so determined to get you going to the bathroom every single day with normal bowel movements, normal motility, and just feeling so much better. So I'm going to flip around my screen. I'm going to share with you your welcome packet. We're going to go through it, review your recommendations, your recommended plan, your recommended diet changes, your recommended supplementation, just so we can get a full encompassing picture. And you can obviously ask me any questions that you have afterward. It's going to be a lot of info. So take your time digesting it, going through it, and we can talk about anything we want to follow up on. So I'm going to flip my screen around. Okay. So here's your packet. This is going to also be in your healthy documents section, which is available to you at all times. You can download it to your computer, you can print it, anything in your document section, feel free to download it so you have it on your desktop or your iPhone. Obviously, you can get into the program modules at any time in your document section, anytime. Let me know if you have any questions going through the modules. I see that you did, I believe you watched the welcome video, you read some of the welcome PDFs, you joined the Facebook group. So that's all great so far. So let me know as you're going if you have any questions about any of like the admin stuff or how to navigate anything. So we just really, I'll go over kind of like what to expect and where we'll be communicating. You obviously know you have your roadmap in your Google Drive. You'll get notifications through email. You'll be messaging and getting notifications through Facebook group. That's where I post all of the live Q&As. I also post Monday goals for the week that I encourage you to participate in, and your Friday wins for the week. I also post about certain challenges in the Facebook group. On different points of the program. Typically, I'll have a monthly challenge about twice in the 4-month program to keep it fun and interesting. We'll be doing that in the live calls and the groups. And we'll be using Healthy for the Zoom calls that go through Healthy, but they populate in Zoom. But you have your Healthy calendar, which will tell you when the calls are at all times. You'll get notifications for bi-monthly check-in forms, which is our one-to-one check-ins between the live calls, where if you don't feel like talking about your symptoms or how you're doing with others in the group, you can definitely just save it for your one-to-one check-ins. So, you don't have to share all that information if you don't feel like it, but some people love that. So you can really kind of get a sense of how other people are feeling, knowing that others are going through a similar situation, and you can kind of feed off of one another. And that's really nice. You can obviously, you've been logging food journals, your photos. You can log your symptoms, your bowel movements. That's all really, really helpful to really perhaps me to see all the detail that you're putting in. So I can now make recommendations based on the diet changes that you're going to be implementing, which is going to be helpful to supporting your bowel movements and your gut flora as we're starting to work on the root cause issues. So now I'll go back and I'll go through everything that you posted, and I'll make recommendations on tweaks to make with certain choices, especially related to carbohydrates and fermentable carbohydrates or FODMAPs. And I'll recommend what to reduce here and there and what to kind of interchange in your diet for now to reduce bloating and improve constipation. So again, we'll be updating your roadmap at the end of each month at your bi-monthly check-ins. We're going to be setting goals in there. I have checkpoints in there now for, watching one of the balanced meal videos, and I'll be adding to your roadmap throughout the program with supportive notes and just helpful tips to get you through the program and staying on track. You can also post menus to be reviewed that you can upload into Healthy, or you can upload in the Facebook group. I just ask that you give about 3 to 4 days notice, so that if you're going out on the weekend, maybe you post it earlier in the week. I also really like to request these weekly meal planner guides. So every Sunday, you'll be getting a weekly meal planner that's blank that helps you set your week up for success. I'll be doing plant diversity score sheets where you add up the number of plants that you're eating in 7 days. And by the end of the program, we want to get that up to about 40 to 50. So I'll help guide you through this. And the whole goal is that we get you eating a wide diversity in your diet that you can tolerate, that has, where you have minimal bloating and no constipation. So obviously that is our goal. My goal is that you will not have to go on medication such as Linzess that really does not address the root cause of the problem. It's really, again, just masking symptoms, just like Miralax. I really want to help you avoid Miralax because it is polyethylene glycol, which is a plastic. So I don't really recommend people ingesting plastic just so they can go to the bathroom. So I have other alternatives for you that I'm excited to share. So I'll get going into it. I'm also going to send you this form next week about your health vision and how, I kind of want you to write out what having good health means to you. Why is this important to you? And what's your why that's going to keep you motivated on this journey? And what steps we kind of need to take to align your actions with your goals. So we'll talk about that as we go. And this is just a little about us being what our bacteria eat. I'm not going to go fully into detail with this. We also have some education lessons in the live coaching calls. So I'll be going into a whole lesson on the significance of the microbiome. But we know that our microbiome determines a majority of our health and disease states. And we have a lot of power just by what we eat and how that influences the state of our microbes. Where are we promoting good microbes that are proliferating, or are we feeding pathogens that are replicating and swaying that balance of good and bad bacteria in the gut? So we know things like antibiotics, antacids. I know you said you never went on omeprazole. You had been on a good handful of antibiotics throughout your life, but nothing long term. But even sporadic antibiotics every, year or so, a little less than that, can definitely alter your gut microbiome over time, and increase risk of bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine. So we'll talk about that. We know things like excess conventional red meat that's not grass-fed or organic that can influence our bacteria negatively, artificial sweeteners, excess refined sugar, saturated fat. And then we know prebiotics, probiotics, fiber, polyphenols, resistant starch, fermented foods. I'll talk a little bit more about these things in the program, but all these things are feeding our good gut bacteria, where they're proliferating those good guys like lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. These are our keystone bacterial strains that are helpful for shaping a healthy gut microbiome. So these in turn increase our fat metabolism. It helps reduce weight loss resistance. So it's easier to lose weight when we have a healthy gut environment. We lower our gut inflammation. We have a stronger immunity. And I definitely see that lacking in your immune system, where you're getting, like you said, the food poisoning in 2021. You said that happened pretty frequently in the past, I believe you said. So we see a low gut immune system when we have these GI issues as well. We have insulin sensitivity is altered. So we want to assess also, we'll be looking for your blood work and see how your blood glucose regulation is doing. I don't suspect you're having, pre-diabetes or diabetes or anything at, your weight of 132, but it's certainly good to know to make sure that there's no glucose dysregulation. We obviously know that an imbalanced microbiome leads to altered bowels, so diarrhea, constipation, gut inflammation, increase in bacterial endotoxins, which is lipopolysaccharides. This is something that we can test for on a microbiome stool test, where I think right now you would benefit more from the SIBO breath test, because I do suspect you already have some large intestinal imbalance because you've had the bacterial vaginosis. You have a lot of these gut symptoms. Bacterial vaginosis is definitely correlated with microbiome imbalance. But right now, the one that I think is really causing you the most trouble is in the small intestine, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And I definitely disagree with your GI doctor that it's inconsistent and unreliable, because I've helped so many people, and so many practitioners are helping people actually heal from SIBO by targeting the motility issue that I feel is going on with you, where your bowels are not, your GI tract is not moving along the way it should. And that's causing this bacterial overgrowth because of the slowdown. So these are more factors that negatively affect the microbiome, antibiotics and stress and low fiber, birth control. But I know that you said you were on the Assure, which is not hormonal, which is good. But I believe you said you're keeping this one in because there's a risk of taking it out. There has been associations with like abdominal pain and discomfort with the Assure, and I believe, let me know if I'm wrong, but I read something that it was like that it was being recalled, that they're no longer putting them in people because of a lawsuit. So let me know if I read that correctly, because I did see that somewhere. But let's get into the phases of the program. So right now we're going to be talking about, we'll talk a little bit about your assessment, your clinical assessment, what diet changes I'm recommending for you, and specific foods we're going to be trying to increase to improve your bowel movements, improve your low bloat, low fermentable carb fiber. We're going to talk about my meal formula. And I also dive into the meal formula a lot in that balanced meal video. We're going to be talking about supplement recommendations to address some root causes and heal the gut lining, heal your motility. And then we're going to so we're addressing all these things at the same time. So we're basically addressing root cause issues while improving your tolerance to foods that you're all these foods that you're sensitive to, that you're not really sure, right? Like what it is you're sensitive to, because it's almost everything, because you're bloating most of the time. And you're having that borderline Crohn's as well, where you're having this gut inflammation. So we want to soothe that gut inflammation. And we want to reintroduce foods that we're temporarily omitting, while we really target the root issues, and then expand your diet based on your tolerance levels, and reintroduce certain foods that are high bloat promoting, just in a structured way, that we reintroduce them back slowly into your diet. So then the goal is that you're going to be, basically just tolerating all these foods again without symptoms, and going to the bathroom every day, because you're going to have no bacterial overgrowth that's reacting to foods, and you're not going to have any motility issues where food is then causing the problem to be exacerbated. Okay. So you said your current weight is 132. Your ideal body weight based on your height is 90 to 110. I think your first goal weight is great for 126. So we also want to know, though, that we want to address gut issues first and foremost, right? And then your metabolism will improve based on us improving the state of your gut. So we also want to know, we also want to realize that strength training is also good, because it helps build that muscle mass as we're losing weight. And as we're improving gut health, strength training is really, really great for our microbiome balance and good for large intestinal dysbiosis. So I believe you said you have been working out. You've always enjoyed exercising, which is amazing. So I definitely would love you to keep that up. You just don't want to do too much HIIT. You want to do more lower intensity workouts as best as you can, like slow and controlled weight training. I wouldn't do cardio more than like 30-minute stretches, just to, you don't want to spike your cortisol too much, which is your stress hormone. So that is the goal, especially with things going on like bacterial overgrowth and large intestinal dysbiosis. We want to be kind of addressing adrenal stress as well, and making sure that we're telling the nervous system that it's safe, and we don't want to be spiking our stress hormone all the time with HIIT and really aggressive workouts. That's just a side note, and I have a little PDF PowerPoint slides about that as well in your program section. So let's go over your clinical presentation. Okay, so I do think you have a high likelihood of SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Again, we can test for this. Like we said, we can move forward with treating with you and I, because I can treat for it with specific things that we can order together, that we don't need a doctor for. So it's really your personal choice. I do think you have the one that's associated with the gas of methane. There are 3 gases that can be tested for: methane, hydrogen, and hydrogen sulfide. Because of your severe constipation, this is 100% of the time mostly associated with methane. You have that chronic bloating, that fatigue, the gas, you said not too much reflux actually, but the low stomach acid, the burning in your stomach, the upper stomach pain. and you're getting all this gas because the gases are getting trapped, and they try to really go up and down the GI tract. You're mostly getting the gas that's going down, and it's causing this hypersensitivity. SIBO can really cause what's called visceral hypersensitivity when you're actually feeling more that's going on in your gut more than the average person. So you're feeling all the gas, you're feeling the discomfort. And especially if you're getting that severe constipation that's associated with SIBO and methane SIBO, methane gas in itself, when you already have SIBO, slows down your intestines even more. So the methane gas slows down the gut further, aside from the fact of why SIBO developed, because the gut motility was sluggish prior to it developing. And I'm also going to send you kind of like a questionnaire of root causes, of additional root causes of SIBO and other reasons it could have developed from things in your life, such as if you've gotten into a car accident or if you've ever had any thyroid problems. There's some interesting questions that don't really seem related, but really can kind of dive deeper into why you may have developed SIBO. Also, the fact that you've had food poisoning many times, that can actually damage the motility in your small intestine. They're called migrating motor cells. And this really can be affected again by food poisoning, gastroenteritis, which you said you have had frequently in the past. So we know also that antibiotics can also damage the migrating motor complex as well. And there's all these reasons culminating together. We also want to look at your thyroid. We want to make sure I believe I have a note down here. We also want to rule out subclinical or regular hypothyroidism, because we know there's a strong connection between low thyroid hormones, high TSH, low stomach acid, constipation, having a sluggish gut, and SIBO development. So we really want to be looking at TSH, T3, T4, TPO antibodies, which hopefully they are going to be testing for tomorrow. I also think that you're having, from the past, possibly a vagus nerve issue where the vagus nerve is untoned or weakened and there's some gut-brain axis dysfunction. The vagus nerve is the nerve that runs from the brain directly to the gut. And if that nerve is weakened, it can really, really contribute to constipation and sluggish motility. So something may have damaged this nerve in the past or caused it to be untoned or weakened. And this could have also stimulated SIBO development. Same with stomach acid. So stomach acid in itself, and the fact that you have like the history of the stomach ulcer, the gnawing, burning pain in the stomach, the low stomach acid in itself is also a trigger for SIBO development. The fact that also you're very sensitive to red meat, that really highlights that low stomach acid picture, as well as increase in constipation, very common with low stomach acid. And we want to make sure, too, with red meat, it sometimes can be the fat content, and SIBO can cause fat malabsorption. So not yet, but we're going to be introducing a supplement that has some ox bile in it too, and some HCl, but we don't want to be taking stomach acid yet, HCl, until your stomach lining is a little bit less inflamed and more healed with the gastritis. We also can see a picture with leaky gut or gut permeability, and this gut inflammation that's affecting systemic inflammation. It's definitely present with SIBO, with allergies. I know you said you had allergy development around 9 years ago. So that's really showing like a poor, almost immune gut reaction, and hot increase in food sensitivities over time. This can also cause fatigue and brain fog, things like skin conditions, anxiety, mood changes. So I know you said that you definitely get the brain fog, chronic sinus flare-ups, some bad allergies, which can all be related to an impaired immune system, possibly some histamine issues as well, which SIBO can create, and definitely like irritability, mood swings, that all can be affected by gut permeability, SIBO, and that imbalance in the gut-brain connection with the vagus nerve being suboptimal. We also talked about the adrenal health with working out, like I mentioned before, but your body is going through a lot with a lot of these GI issues. So the adrenals can be taxed and they can be a little stressed out. So we really want to be focusing on adrenal and mineral support to really improve your stress hormone response, because this is impacting your energy levels and your fatigue and the way that your body is really handling these GI symptoms and bacterial dysfunction. So I know this is a lot, but we're going to tackle things one at a time and really make sure that we're getting to the root cause of everything, right? We don't want to like bypass major systems in the body. We want to make sure that we're addressing all different symptoms. Sorry, that's my 3.5-month-old puppy, and he's trying to play with me, and he just keeps dropping his toy. So if you hear a bang, that's my little puppy Rosie. So the 4 R's are really, the kind of the outline of what I like to do. So we like to focus on reducing. Number 1 are reducing the fermentable carbs to limit the fuel that the bacteria in the small and large intestine are using as their fuel to then create that bloating and gas production. So we want to reduce their fuel. So reduce the FODMAPs in the diet, which I have a lot of resources on. So I'll be helping you with that and making recommendations in your journal as you go. I'm also going to send you like a meal plan / guide of some low FODMAP tips and some recipe ideas and some meal ideas. And we want to then focus on eliminating and removing the bacteria that are overgrown in the small intestine and improve the large intestinal bacterial microbiome balance with antimicrobials. And I like to use antimicrobials that aren't antibiotics that kill all bacteria. They are really only targeting displaced and pathogenic bacteria and fungi and parasites, and they really leave the good bacteria intact when you use them effectively. So they're gentle. You take them over the course of a few months, like 2 months or so, not like a 10-day span of antibiotics. So you're really doing like a low and slow type of method that's really going to help rebalance the flora in the long run and kill any bacteria in the small intestine that we don't want there sitting there digesting your food where they shouldn't be before they get to your large intestine. We want to really improve the intestinal lining and its integrity and improve the permeability of the gut. We really, really want to restore the motility of your GI tract and prevent relapse of symptoms, because if you just focus on killing the bacteria, the motility dysfunction is still there. So we really need to restore that motility in your GI tract so that bacteria don't tend to build up again in the place that they shouldn't. So we talked about additional testing. We'll go from there after tomorrow with what you didn't get tested, and we'll see what your labs look like, and we can ask for any follow-up testing as needed. This is also an option, like I said before, that large intestinal microbiome test. But again, I would recommend for you, if anything, that SIBO breath test. So we really want to focus on plant diversity, especially on the lower FODMAP elimination plan that I'm recommending for you for short term. Not a diet we want to be on long term, but even when we're on it, we want to make sure that you're having a wide, diverse range of foods, because we want to be feeding the good gut bacteria and we want to be eating as much good fiber as we can that's not going to irritate your gut. We want to focus on eradicating bacterial overgrowth, rebalance the large intestinal microbiome through specific probiotics, lifestyle habits, stress reduction, meal spacing, meal hygiene. We want to uncover all these root causes of SIBO. We want to support healthy stomach acid levels, optimize your motility, support liver function. And I have a whole liver support video as well that I'll have you watch kind of later on in the program. As I said, we kind of want to space things out and make sure that we're starting, slowly and make things realistic and attainable. We also want to aim for about 90 to 100 ounces of water for your body weight plus more due to your heavy constipation. We want to help get things moving. And there's also such thing, an adrenal cocktail powder or using electrolytes, which are really, really helpful for constipation as well. So I have a minerals and adrenal PDF that you can use to make homemade drinks. Rosie, stop it. Sorry, one second, Natalie. Okay. So it's in your program modules, that minerals adrenals PDF, but I'll also send you some of my favorite electrolytes that you can use, like Element, Cure, and Relight. And these are really, really great for mineral support, motility support, and natural energy, because we typically see mineral depletion if someone is, avoiding a lot of foods, they're not, they're scared to eat, or they have food fears. They tend to see that we're not getting enough minerals in our diet. And a lot of minerals, like such as potassium, magnesium, are really, really important for our gut motility. So, like I said, the short-term elimination diet for you recommended for about 8 weeks. Sometimes can be more, but sometimes does not have to be super strict, just enough to really help relieve your symptoms and reduce irritation and inflammation in the gut before we do a planned reintroduction. I have some apps here that are really helpful for groceries and, low FODMAP references, in addition to a lot of the resources that I have in your document section. So definitely check that out later today, this weekend. I have a low FODMAP folder with a lot of information, and then I have a whole low FODMAP recipe folder for you. And these are some high fiber, low FODMAP foods that are really, really good for you right now with improving your constipation, in addition to some of the targeted supplements. So kiwi and pumpkin and gluten-free oats and ground flax seeds, chia seeds, sweet potato, carrots, hemp seeds, walnuts, almonds, roasted potatoes. If there is a portion size on there, that's usually the recommendation for a low FODMAP portion size. So you don't have to get too much into that right now, but I can always guide you on whether or not I think a certain portion size may have contributed to your symptoms. But I just want you to get familiar first with foods that are higher FODMAP and lower FODMAP, and we can go from there. Ginger is really, really great for you right now for small intestinal motility. Definitely ginger tea would be great, like between your meals on an empty stomach or upon waking. That's when we're going to actually affect that migrating motor complex or that motility the best, when we're fasting between meals. So if you can do that, that'd be awesome. I'm adding that in a few times a week or even once a day. Foods high in omega-3s are really great for reducing inflammation, especially if you have the borderline Crohn's. And then we want to be focusing on 3 balanced meals every day using the balanced meal formula. You really want to avoid skipping meals when you're bloated, because this can actually make your digestive capacity worse, your stomach acid levels worse, and your bloating worse in the long run. But it's really, really great to have these short fasts between meals. So we don't want to be grazing for meals. We kind of want to have a defined meal 3 times a day that's balanced. And that's lasting us 3 to 4 hours, so that we can have that small window of gut rest between your meals. That really is good for bacterial overgrowth, to help food clear out of the small intestine. So it has time to basically get rid of the food, move it along, keep your motility going. I'm going to also talk more about this, on our calls, and other areas, but like binaural beats and meditation. This is really good for vagus nerve support. This is, I can send you a link because it's really, really interesting, but it's really good for constipation because it's awesome for your vagus nerve, which is great for motility. So you're basically putting headphones on and you're listening to beats that are going in 2 different wavelengths into each ear. And it's really, really helpful for the vagus nerve. So just a little tidbit for a lifestyle tip that you can use right now that's going to help support improving your motility and constipation. So I'll send you some links for that. So this is a temporary targeted supplement recommendation regimen, which is going to help support the dietary changes and help support improving the landscape of the gut, improving your digestive capacity, improving your stomach lining, so that we can heal gastritis, improving the bloating as well. So we can start kind of slow too. You don't have to do all of them at once. The more that you can dive into it, the better, because we can get you feeling better that much more quickly. So we have one of the SIBO treatments will be sent to you by me. So that will be FC Cytal. And then the dysbioside that will be recommended separately because they are, a duo, but they're a blend of herbal compounds that are very well studied to address overgrown bacteria like SIBO, fungi, parasites, and gut infections. And I like these better because antibiotics only kill bacteria, and they're wiping out all the bacteria, whereas this is only targeting pathogens, and it's also targeting fungi, parasites, viruses. So this is what I love to use much better than rifaximin, which a lot of doctors will use to treat SIBO. We also want to use digestive bitters. This is going to help support your stomach acid levels. It's easy on the gut though. And it also stimulates pancreatic enzymes and bile flow to support your upper stomach digestion. Right now, we also want to use some mucilaginous herbs with GI relief. They help heal and soothe the upper stomach lining and GI tract, heal a lot of those gastritis symptoms with DGL, slippery elm, marshmallow root, aloe vera. These all have evidence-based support for upper stomach healing, and help soothe the intestinal lining, which we know that with the borderline Crohn's, we really want to be focusing on intestinal inflammation as well. Atransil is also really, really great with supporting that antimicrobial regimen, the two SIBO treatments, because it's blocking the gas production. So it's kind of acting as symptom relief and root cause issues because it's blocking the methane gas production that's influencing gas symptoms, bloating, and helps improve your motility when there's less methane gas being produced. I did write magnesium citrate, but I might just have you start on the motility prokinetic because of the constipation being so severe. So I'm going to swap that out for the prokinetic, which is a proprietary ginger and artichoke extract, which is so effective at helping to re-stimulate your own natural migrating motor complex and small intestinal motility. So I'd rather not use magnesium citrate. It's kind of like almost like a Band-Aid, like a laxative. I'd rather just put you right to the prokinetic that's going to help re-stimulate your bowels to go on their own over time. Then I also would recommend, lastly, just a multivitamin with minerals that's really high quality because you're having low absorption with a lot of bacterial overgrowth. It really depletes your nutrients because it steals a lot of your vitamins before they can be absorbed. It likes B vitamins. So that's why a lot of people get fatigued and tired with SIBO, because SIBO can absorb a lot of our B12, our B1, our niacin or thiamine. So I'd want you to take a good multivitamin with a good B complex in it, as well as zinc. Zinc is really great for healing the gut lining. It has selenium, which is really important for your thyroid health, which we know is important for motility. So a multivitamin can help fill in the gaps right now as we work on improving your nutrient absorption. Then I just wrote, some extra tidbits about SIBO. Again, I do have a whole video lesson for you on SIBO that I'll probably have you watch within the next weekish, just to get a good handle on it. So you don't have to, go too crazy about this right now. This is a little more about stomach acid. Again, I have a whole video lesson on stomach acid for you. And initially, we're going to use the digestive bitters to help stimulate your own stomach acid. And we're going to work on strengthening that vagus nerve. We're going to focus on, regular balanced meals, which you're pretty good with. That's really good that you're not skipping too many meals. You're not having like super large meals either. So that's an awesome thing right there. Apple cider vinegar, I don't know if you can really handle that yet. So that's why I want to start with the bitters, because ACV can be a little, it can cause more burning for people who have a sensitive stomach lining initially. So this is a little more about FODMAPs, what each of the, acronyms stands for. They're basically just types of carbohydrates and their carbohydrate structure. Lactose is one of them, which is a disaccharide. F just stands for fermentable because they're highly fermentable in the gut when we have SIBO or large intestinal dysbiosis. So they become malabsorbed, and then we get heavy gas production, we get distension, flatulence, abdominal pain, and constipation, which explains all the symptoms that you have. So when we temporarily reduce these FODMAPs, we can definitely see some relief as we're treating the root cause issues. This is a little bit about how to build a low FODMAP meal. Pick a grain, protein, veggies. We want to make veggies about half of your plate of low FODMAP vegetables, of non-starchy vegetables. Fruit, we want to aim for about 2 fruits a day. We usually want to pair these with protein, so we're balancing out the carbohydrate content for our blood sugar absorption. There's just because it's low lactose doesn't mean that it's a dairy-free diet. So you can have more hard cheeses like cheddar, Swiss, Parmesan, brie, feta, mozzarella, then healthy fats. Most nuts are low FODMAP except for cashews and pistachios. It's a lot of vegetables and carbohydrates and grains we want to be careful with. We want to stick to gluten-free pasta. We don't want to be doing like chickpea pasta or really high fiber pasta like that right now. Although I love those, they can be really bloat promoting with FODMAP intolerance. So again, I'll give you a lot of ideas and recipes. This is that balanced meal formula I was talking about. So we want to aim for a half of your plate non-starchy veggies, a quarter of whole grains or starchy veggies, a quarter lean protein, and a serving of healthy fats. So I put kind of examples of each one here. So this is great for about, 3 times a day. If you aren't getting veggies, half your plate at breakfast, that's totally understandable. If you can aim for at least twice a day with this balanced meal plate, this is going to help you get enough fiber to promote bulk of the stool, and it's going to be low. Our goal is that it's going to be low in fermentable carbs, so you're improving your symptoms as we work on the gut flora. This is just a little bit more diving into each one with more examples. So definitely take some time to read through this weekend and ask me any questions that you need to over this next week. And this is just a little bit more about why it's important to have a balanced breakfast, because we don't want to be having a carb only breakfast that, if you see in the red, that will really spike your blood sugar to 180, which normal is under 126. So even for non-diabetic, we can spike our glucose high, which is not great for gut healing. And then we get this large crash about 2 hours after eating, which can cause more fatigue, us being tired, blood sugar dysregulation. So we really want to make sure we're getting enough protein at breakfast, specifically like 25 grams of protein. I do have a protein guide for you as well, and I'll help you with this in your journals. I'll make comments as to how you can increase your protein at certain meals if needed, and just really get into the nitty-gritty with you in your journal. I have some more wellness recommendations here. Definitely hydrating before you caffeinate is great. Trying some of the mineral mocktails. After we, discuss a lot of this, I'll make you some realistic goals in your roadmap for the next few weeks following. So you have kind of like a target plan instead of just taking all this and running with it. We want to make sure you have some realistic goals to start with for the next few weeks. So these are just some more suggestions. Some bone broth concentrate that I love. That's really great for gut lining support. Kiwis are really great for bowel regularity and improving constipation. The squatty potty I also love for someone like you who has chronic constipation, because it helps get your feet and your body into proper alignment for elimination. I have some grass-fed collagen peptides linked that really are good for the gut lining and helping to improve your protein intake. I also have a whole Amazon list for like a shop for a whole page of low FODMAP products. So that's really helpful. So check that out. And I have some different examples of low FODMAP foods. This is from the Monash app. So if you search almonds, it'll tell you, okay, so low FODMAP portion of almonds is 10 nuts. So you don't have to go too crazy with this right away, but over time, this can really help you manage your portions for symptoms and reducing them so that you're going to have a low chance of bloating after a meal. And also here it shows you if it's in red, then that means that FODMAP group, the GOS group, is high at 20 nuts. These are some low FODMAP fruit examples and their portion sizes, which is really helpful. These are some really good examples of low FODMAP fiber that I want you to really start focusing on incorporating over these next few weeks. And thinking of different ways we can get them into your diet, chia seeds with oatmeal or smoothies, walnuts on top of salads, or on top of like a pumpkin oatmeal dish. Quinoa you can have as your quarter plate of starch with like a vegetable bowl with quinoa. You could do chickpeas, a half a cup of chickpeas as your starch as well. I typically count it as a starch because they're very starchy, but also have some protein. Brown rice, pumpkin seeds. Now, as we're entering the fall, pumpkin seeds can be really delicious paired, on top of soup or as a snack on top of a salad. There's some more low FODMAP flavors that you can incorporate because we really want to be now for now excluding garlic and onion because they are very, very high FODMAP. So a good alternative is a garlic infused olive oil, which I also have one of those on my Amazon, a few of those on my Amazon page. And I have a lot of like garlic and onion free alternatives on there as well. But a lot of these are all low FODMAP. So you can definitely help, it can help you keep some variety and good flavors in your diet. Here's an example of a low FODMAP Buddha bowl that I really like. And just some different ways you can optimize your fiber intake, limiting refined sugar, and a healthy low FODMAP snack list with some different ideas, different links as well. So a weekly meal prep guide with a few things that you can make ahead of time to really set your week up for success and, make better time for you during the week. Like a low FODMAP salad dressing that's really good, some roasted sweet potatoes. And just a few different recipes as well. A turmeric tea that's really good for inflammation in the gut, a low FODMAP organic bone broth if you wanted to make one of that yourself, some strawberry almond butter oatmeal, which I love, and this blueberry smoothie. So these are all just gut healthy recipes that are low FODMAP. I included some of my discount codes in here that I have. One here's Further Food, which is another collagen that I love. So go through this. Let me know what you think. I'm going to be sending you the supplement recommendations from Fullscript, which is the dispensary that I use, and it's 10% off anything from the dispensary. So I'll be sending you your personalized recommendations from there. And let me know what questions you have because this is of course a lot of information and I don't want to feel like I'm dictating your plan. This is us working together to really get you feeling better. It's a team effort. So I'm really excited to help you and work with you over these next few months. And I'm determined to get you feeling so much better and get you going to the bathroom every single day. So I'll talk to you soon, Natalie, and let me know questions you have.